Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue with the essay Forgetting by Robert Lind. Now, the writer continues with his analysis of the tendency to forget. He says that people usually forget to post letters. He does not trust any visitor to post a letter for him. As for himself, he forgets to post a letter even if he has a letter in his hand and moves past the letterbox. So the writer has continued with his theme about forgetting, and first he mentioned about forgetting to take medicines, which is a very common thing that people forget to take medicines, and now he has given another example where forgetfulness is very evident, and that is the example of posting letters. So he says that it is a usual tendency that people forget to post letters, and as far as he himself is concerned, he is also not very mindful of posting letters, because even if he has a letter in his own hand and he's going somewhere and he's again thinking that I have to post this letter, even then when he passes by the post office he forgets it. Now the writer says that he seldom forgets anything in trains and taxis. He can remember almost anything except books and walking sticks. And sometimes he can even remember books. So the writer says that he usually does not forget anything in trains and taxis, but sometimes he forgets books and walking sticks. He quite frequently he forgets. So he admits that he forgets picking up his walking sticks while traveling in taxis or buses or trains. As far as train journey is concerned, it is the young who tend to forget articles rather than the old. Sportsmen seem to have rather bad memory as they forget footballs and cricket balls in the trains. Now the writer is talking about the train journey, and he says that usually it is the young people rather than the old who forget their things in the trains, and many times one finds footballs and cricket balls in the trains which have been forgotten by people. So one tends to assume that they have been forgotten by young players. So there is a bit of absent-mindedness in them that makes them forget those things. The writer gives a very interesting remark about absent-mindedness and says, absent-mindedness of this kind seems to me all but a virtue. The absent-minded man is often a man who is making the best of life and therefore has no time to remember the mediocre. Who would have trusted Socrates or Coleridge to post a letter? They had souls above such things. So now the writer is saying that keeping in mind everything and keeping in mind these little things like taking medicines and posting letters, maybe it is the job of the mediocre, the people who are so highly refined mentally and intellectually. They don't give importance to such things. So he's saying that who would have trusted a Socrates or a Coleridge to post a letter? The writer wonders whether it is altogether desirable to have a good memory. A man who is a perfect remembering machine is seldom a man of first-rate intelligence. And there are children or men who had marvelous memories and yet had no intellect to speak of. Finally, the writer says that most of us are born with prosaically efficient memories. If it were not so, the institution of the family could not survive in any great modern city. So in this way, the writer concludes the essay with his views on forgetfulness. So that's all for today. Thanks.